to Unpopular Demand, brought to you by Variance Magazine. This is the show to discover music you'll tell your friends about, and I'm your host, Ethan Ijumba. Today, I'm joined by Baltimore raised and New York-based artist Low.bō, who released this recent single, Let It Fall, early back in December, as well as your debut pop project, Impala. But other than that, first and foremost, how are you doing today, boss?
I'm doing great, man. I ain't gonna lie. Doing really good, bro. It's the second day of the year, bro. My birthday's in like 7 days.
Happy early, happy early.
Thanks, man. I can't believe I'm about to be fucking 26. That shit sound crazy to say, though. I ain't gonna lie.
It is. I'm 26 now, so I get it. It just feels it's like a weird filler year because like your 27 club and 25 is like your quarter life crisis. So it's kind of like it's like a filler episode. You don't really need to see it, but it's also like treat every year as if it's something's gonna happen, something major is gonna be just pursued and manifest and such. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody keeps talking about your frontal lobe is supposed to be developed by 25.
Yep.
Like, I feel like things are starting to finally click now that I'm about to be like 26.
It starts to lock. Yeah. I get it. So
Like, I'm handy now.
So now going on to the age of 26 soon, how long have you been doing music for exactly?
I would say, honestly, I started doing it at, like, seriously, I started doing it at 22, to be honest. I was singing in, like, choirs and stuff like that, like, growing up. But I don't know, I never really thought I'd be doing music for real, because I just didn't, like, I wanted to pursue other stuff, because I just feel like I always was doing music when I was younger for other people, and just really substantial shit. Like, I went to school for music because I didn't want to go to high school that I went to, and I was singing in church because my mom was, like, older, so she just had me in church. So I feel like at 22 was when I really was like, I'm just start doing it for myself. And I would say it's been an interesting journey, because it's like, there's no right and wrong way to go about it, but it's always a surprise to see the things that has happened in my life because I made that like jump. You know what I mean?
So being so apprehensive to pursue it in the beginning, what motivated you to want to actually take it serious then? Was it a specific moment or a specific person that you were like, okay, everybody's telling me to pursue a career, or I should really focus on it, keep singing, go about that way. But what was it for you that really cemented that and made you believe that, okay, this is what I'm actually going to do besides what anybody else thinks?
I'll keep it a bean. It was a conversation I had with a friend of mine from Ohio. His name, he's an artist as well. His name is Monroe Jordan. It was like the first time I ever met, bro. But we was cool off of Instagram for like a couple of years before then. And Ken in New York, he was like, yeah, I'm coming to New York with like my friends and like, you know, it's like, oh, whatever. At the time, I was already debating on not doing photography anymore, just because like I just kind of felt like I did everything I wanted to do. And then into a different state where I literally didn't know anyone. I kind of felt stuck, and I just was like not being, I guess, satisfied like creatively. So I was like making demos and stuff like that with like my friend Jalen back home. But I had this like thought in my head, like, oh, what if nobody takes me serious if I start doing music? Because they're just like, oh, that's, he takes photos, he does this. Like, what's he doing making music? You know what I mean? And I showed him my role on the train, and he was just like, bro, like, do that shit. Like, fuck it. And I didn't even know how to drop music. I didn't even know what a distro kid was. So I had a conversation with him, and I was like, all right. So I just dropped it. Didn't really know like promoting or nothing like that. And I was surprised by just like people actually going to listen. And I mean, it wasn't nothing crazy, but at the same time, it was like people I didn't expect to go out their way to go and actually listen. They were like, yo, like I went and listened to my dogs. And I was like, yo, that shit was like mad fire. I think after that, I was like, why not? Like, let's just see what happens. I didn't really think it would like do anything crazy, but it was like, well, I kind of like doing this, and I felt satisfied just trying to do it. It's better than like trying to rely on people to like, stand in front of the camera, like compared to like I can just make music in my room on my phone if I want to.
True.
That was kind of like I would say that was really more so like the moment that was like, yeah, like let me at least just try and see what happens. So shout out Monroe, bro. He put that in my head for real.
Shout out Monroe. And then further speaking on that, now with where you're at in your career as an artist, how do you feel exactly everything is? Like, if you had to call this chapter of your career, what would you consider calling it based on like where you're at? Because you've got Impala dropping, you've got more traction, a lot of people are gravitating more to your sound and what you're doing with it. But how does it feel for you at where you're at currently right now at this state?
I'll be honest, sometimes it feels like I put a lot of pressure on myself to like see that, like continuously seeing that elevation. Because I mean, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care more than I do. So it's like, and for me, it's kind of hard to kind of like stay in the moment for too long. Like when I dropped in pollen stuff, I was already like, okay, I'm ready for like what's next. And I need to start learning how to just embrace these moments because as you see, like we're getting older, and it's like in October it'll be 4 years I've been doing music, so it's kind of like I'm not saying this in like a I hope this doesn't come up like in a condescending way. I'm very grateful because like where I am now is where I wanted to see myself a year ago, and where I was a year ago is where I wanted to see myself 2 years ago. So I'm always seeing that continuous growth. But I think see if I could call this chapter something, I would say just like slow down, you know.
Do you feel you're flying a little too close to the sun, as if you're trying to do too much all at once in between not just music, but producing and songwriting and just how you're just overall going about every day making an album? Or what do you think that's really consuming for you to keep trying to move fast or go faster?
I think it's more so just like the outside voices. And I think it's just like, oh, well, we should focus on this. We should do this more. We should do this more. And I hate the feeling of like everything around me, like calling me at once.
Everything everywhere at all at once kind of thing. Yeah, it's just a blanket of stress and worry and pressure, and it just covers you, and you pretty much just got to put everything down. You can't just turn off your brain necessarily, but like that's how it feels.
Yeah, it's like for me, like before any of the other stuff can happen, the music has to be good first.
Yeah.
It has to not only just be good, it has to be something that I really am confident in, like, oh, like this is what I want people to hear. Because I'll make songs, I'll work on tracks all the time, but for the most part, it's really just me trying to just like keep myself in the flow of doing things, just creating for the sake of creating, and that's something that I've been trying to indoctrinate more into like my daily routine. Because, I'm transparently, I still like I have a 9 to 5 still. I still work a regular job. And sometimes you get the stresses of like rent and like, just other bills and stuff. And sometimes when life is starting to hit on you, just like, yo, I gotta focus on that shit. But I'm learning how to maintain the balance of like pursuing music as like not only just a creative means, but as a potential like way of like really living my life. And it's so like it's crazy, bro. Algorithm shit is so real. I feel like I keep seeing reels and shit like that. They keep saying like, with this, like you can't be just always like relying on like a plan B, like it's either all or nothing type of thing. But for me, like I'm such a overthinker and overanalyzer that it's like, dude, I need to have a plan and
To
not
be fair, and sorry to interrupt you, it does show that you're trying to be prepared. You don't want to fail, so you're gonna make sure that you have some insurance, which is a good thing. You shouldn't fault yourself for that. That's not bad at all, but you don't need to consume your mind with the, if I'm not doing this and I don't have this and I'm not all in, it doesn't mean that you're not succeeding in any way less.
yeah. And the thing is like I am all in. It's just like it's just like what you were saying earlier, like flying too close to the sun. I've seen people kind of make the rash decision and wasn't like honestly prepared. Even like when I was younger too, like I moved to New Jersey like 4 months after I graduated from college.
Yep. Can't pump your gas land. Yep.
Yeah. And even though like I don't regret making the jump because I know that if I didn't, I would like my life would probably be way different than it is right now. I still feel like I could have planned it better. But at the same time, like sometimes the sporadic decisions are usually like the ones that will put you in a position that you are like, damn,
True.
I'll be here.
And then to trace back about what you said, the first things first, before anything can pretty much keep going, the music has to be good. So, in your own humble opinion, or just your overall creative mind, how you go about it, what to you is the definition of making the music good exactly? What do you categorize as, okay, if my songs include A, B, C, whether it be chorus, verse, then bridge and chorus, or are you more about including more of the harmonies or the melodies aspect? Are you more based on just the production of how you incorporate bass in your songs? Like, what exactly to you is what's going to define your music as quote unquote good?
I feel like it's really the feeling. It's how the music makes you feel. Because I've heard some songs that were just made on like literally an iPhone.
Damn near AI could have did a better job.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
bro, like you listen to it, but the feeling that like the words and just everything that's done on it, it just like it's so raw, bro. And like it's not about the technicality of things. It's like I was saying, it's about the feeling. It's about the way that the music makes you feel. Like I feel like the best song is the type that evokes a type of emotion. Like I think of it like gospel music. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have to be Christian to feel what these people are saying or like, what is being evoked. And I feel like if you can evoke that type of emotion in your music, like whether it's anger or sadness or you listen to a song and you think of a person or something like that, I feel like that's like what I feel is like really good music. Shit that people can just genuinely relate to. Cause you can write about anything. And as long as someone relates to it in a sense, then I feel like that's what comes off as a great song. Like even trap music, bro, like they used to try and like knock on trap and shit like that. But it's like, bro, like you really listen type shit. These niggas just telling these stories.
The struggle story.
Exactly. And there's someone out there that's listening and being like, damn, I feel exactly what he's talking about, bro. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for everyone, but for the people that it relates to, that's like they're like, yeah, like this nigga is like the one to me type shit. So yeah, I feel like it's just about the feeling that it gives. And as long as if people can relate, then that's what makes it a good song.
And then when it comes down to your album, recently you just dropped Impala back in August, and it's still very, very great. Among all things, I would love to give it to you for flowers given. Now, when it comes down to the songs that you've got, what feelings are you trying to convey and invoke into your listeners? Because you've got songs like Damn These Cycles, She Only Likes Me for the Money, Silver Haze, and such and such. Is there any songs that you feel you're trying to just express a certain feeling for your listeners the most that we're trying to get out of them for them to resonate with?
Damn, that's a great question. It's kind of
Ultimately, it could be just what's your favorite song from the album, because whatever gives the most feeling you could put to that. But is there certain feelings along with that that you really are trying to just invoke as well to your listeners?
I say this when I be talking about managers and shit. I say, bro, I accidentally make projects because I'll just be writing songs and somehow cohesively they'll make a story and they may not even be in the same like chronological order. Like the first song I made on the entire project was Tides. And at first the song was called Verde, but I was like, I'm gonna go with Tides because I feel like that hits a little better. But I would say the song that really kind of like evokes the most emotion out of me was Solace. And it's also like my favorite song on the project. But I was just dealing with a lot of like emotional shit. Like honestly, I was just dealing with a heartbreak, bro. Like I was in a relationship that was long distance and you know, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, there's a multitude of reasons of why long distances can be good, but I would arguably say that it's a longer list on why it's bad, because of course, like you lose a whole love language of physical touch in there, so it comes with it.
And I was like at the time I was freshly starting to learn how to like produce and stuff like that. A lot of Impala was me trying to push myself to go harder than I did on Circa. Because on Circa, it felt like a lot of me working with what was available compared to like Impala being like, I crafted a lot of this like on my own. And then the songs that were produced by like other people like Silver Haze, She Only Likes It for the Money, and Deja Vu, it felt like I still put a lot of myself into the music, even though I didn't produce those three songs. Because it was parts of me that I wanted to explore. Like Silver Haze was really that was the first time I ever incorporated like 808s into a song ever. And when I made that was also the only song I made in LA. That was actually the first song I made in LA ever. Yeah, that was the first song I made in LA. And it was the first song I ever made that had 808s in it. And when that song was being made, it was just like I just really wanted to make some like shit that like you could really bump, you know? Even though that's not like a super deep feeling and stuff like that.
It's all good. It doesn't have to be. You're fine.
So I wanted to make shit that like people could resonate with, but still be able to like bop their head with. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yeah, yeah.
is
You don't want to make 100 deep songs that are nothing but emotional. Like you got to have somebody could dance to at least once out of your entire discography. Yeah, I get it.
like my friends just make trips. They're like, Dad, they go, you make the sad songs. And I was like, that's how Sativa came about too. Cause I had some my friends back in Jersey, they used to make fun of me because they'd be like, Dad, nigga, what you scared to add some drums on your shit?
To be fair, that kind of makes sense because you got that like Jersey, Baltimore club music that stems from there. So it's like you got a point, but it's because that's what your reference point is at the same time.
Yeah, but I keep it a beat. I did used to be scared to add drums. Also, just because I just didn't know how to at the time methodically think like that, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you're pretty much going straight off the harmony and the melodies of it, and just going right off there. You're just, what can I make that's gonna pretty much have people listen to the vocals, which is fair. That's fair, bro. Like that's how you started with.
Yeah, but now I've been like incorporating drums more into like the music and stuff like that, which I'm happy about. And don't let people say that bullying doesn't work because now Team was like my most streamed song ever, and I still think that shit blows my mind because that's like the third song I ever produced.
What moment so far in your career has been the most surreal? Because you've got Lyrical Lemonade posting your stuff. You've been on the radar and everything like that. Now, what exactly has it been for you so far that you feel that, wow, I can't believe now that I chose music as a path to take that this is actually benefiting me as an artist and I'm actually getting my reach to just go about tenfold of different listeners and audiences and gaining more.
Yeah, I think there's like definitely a few moments. Like, I think the one that still kind of like clicks hard for me is when it's like I'll have like random ass DMs from like people I've never met that are like teenagers. You get what I'm saying? Like little
Yeah.
schoolers, little college kids, whatever case may be, and they're hitting me up. They're like, "Yo, like I love your music, like bro, like play this around with my girl," or like, "Oh, I'm like I'm listening to this and I'm like going through this shit, and like I just want to say like I'm really grateful for like your art and stuff like that." And it's like I'm grateful for all the like looks and the accolades and all the wins that like me and my team
Yeah.
won. But I think it's like I said, I think it's more so just the way it connects to people.
The fan mail nonetheless overall that you're getting.
Yeah, because I get how that is, bro. Like you just a kid and you listen to some shit, you're like, damn, I really resonate with this shit. Like 1999, like by Joey Badass, that's one of my favorite rap albums ever.
Type your mixtape.
Yeah, and it was the first honestly, it was the first rap album I ever listened to. Because I didn't
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't grow
Oh,
up.
like gospel church. Yeah, yeah,
My mom is also 63 years old.
yeah. You had a Kirk Franklin household, basically.
He like Phyllis Hyman type shit, bro. So
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just that's what it was. Yeah,
yeah, I grew up more with like Prince and like Michael Jackson playing
yeah,
and like, Lil Wayne. I heard a lot of the rap like in my old neighborhood and shit, cause like my neighbors or whatever. But like 1999 was like the first album I actually listened to on my own. And I remember too, I was like 16 years old, bro. I was in high school and my man's Anthony, he was like, yo, you listen to Joey Badass? I said, no, who that? And like this back when it was like Spinrilla, yo. So you know how like long
or like my mixtapes and all that. Yeah, yeah.
well, I listened. I said, "Bro, what the fuck?" And I heard Illuminati
Changed life. Yeah,
changed my life. Yo, yeah. But that's what I mean, though. It's like, bro, if I could have met Joey Badass when I was like 16 years old, I would have been so geek. So
that's
next
his point. He was also like 18, 19, I think, when it came out. He was young.
kid, bro, going
Yeah.
this.
And then you're looking at yourself like, damn, like you mean to tell me we could be in the same grade as him and he's going that talented? Yeah.
But yeah, it just means a lot that like people, older, younger, whatever, are like resonating and telling me like, I really like your shit. Like, I think what made me realize that like, okay, I think my shit is actually good is when like old heads tell me like I really like your music. Because old niggas when it comes to music,
Oh, they're brutal, bro. If you don't have MC Hammer and your Mount Rushmore to them, you're doing something wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, basically. Like, yeah, they're serious on it.
yeah, my mentor, like really cool ass dude from LA, bro. He lives in New York now. But he was telling me, he said, honestly, like, I hate a lot of the shit that the young people are making. And he wasn't saying it on some like hater old people shit, because he likes Tyler the Creator. He listens to a lot of shit, but he's just like, it's a lot of fluff, between finding like the stuff that he thinks is
Yeah. All right. So I got a tin hat theory, which isn't really that much of a tin hat because that's just the way the numbers are and it's just evidence to back it up. But I don't think that's a problem of the younger generation. I think it's just a problem of rap grew and so did music. And not only that, but you could get from at one point, there was no such thing as downloading an instrumental or paying for beats. Like beats are free now more than ever. Like people are just giving beats away left and right. So it's really not a common gate that can be kept now anymore. Like people can just start a career. All it takes is one of these and that's about it. I've seen people release music off their iPhones now. So it's just, sure, it's bad music nonetheless. I'm not gonna, well, I shouldn't say bad. It's music that I wouldn't listen to, but maybe not a lot of other people listen to either. So if you want to call that bad, then sure. But it's not necessarily at fault, I think, of the younger generation. I just think it's because they've got so much overall references to look at and all these different just perspectives to look at other artists that say, oh, I did it myself. I did it this way. I did it myself. I did it this way. At one point, getting into a career in music was like, you're crazy. Like, that won't work out. You don't have enough time to find a record label or go about this or pitch yourself or submit. But now it's just everything's so DIY and do it yourself, have so much more access to it. So it's like, he's right, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, I don't really blame young kids getting into it because they're just like, some see it just as fun. They see the images and they're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is what I want to do. I see how somebody like Lil Yachty is just having fun with it and enjoying life and all that, but it makes sense. It's fair.
I agree. I don't feel like everybody has to be a fucking super deep, super serious, super emotionally like sometimes you just want to hear some shit.
Yeah.
You want to hear some crack.
That's it.
Okay. Like this, I don't think there's nothing wrong with people just wanting to make shit for fun, for real. But I definitely,
Unless you're Joe Budden.
I'm not even gonna say that.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin brands or nothing like that or any ties or connections, but it's just because that clip just always cracks me up. So yeah, you're good.
Nah, the shit that geeking me is that clip where he those him was like, make that shit 2024. Y'all shit,
Oh god. Yeah, that was the perfect like clip to get anything, yeah. Oh god, back to the topic. So now that before we wrap this up, before I let you get on out of here, just now that with like you said, leave that shit in 2024. 2025 is now just upon us. We're in here, we're living it. What goals do you have set for yourself overall that you want to accomplish, achieve, and just overall make for yourself in terms of being an artist?
taking care of myself physically and mentally.
Fair. That's most important for sure.
It's really what it is, to be honest. And just pushing myself in a healthy way, pushing myself more to like express myself creatively. Like I feel like my biggest weakness, which is kind of ironic because I did photography and film and stuff like that.
Or I thought you would have learned something from doing it that
And
much.
I think what it was, and it's still something I'm still learning about myself, is that like I knew how to translate it for other people, but it's hard to kind of figure out what do I like? Like what is who am I visually and sonically? And I want to be able to like push that and figure it out for like myself.
Do you feel like the team around you get suggestion about what you should do, what you could do, or what you need to do differently and such a lot?
Yeah, I mean on in the best way, yeah. Because one of my managers, he actually shot like two of my videos. He shot Ties and he shot Navy. So it's like we bounce off ideas and stuff like that when we actually sit down and like actually talk about them. But I think it's just more so like I have a hard time trying to explain to people what I see in my head or what I like hear. So
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I kind of like I'll sketch it out, and it may be little stick doodles and shit like that. But like that's how we was able to shoot Silver Haze. Like I just shot on my man's, and he just went off the sketches and was like, "Yeah, we can do this." So that's like still probably my favorite visual, and I don't really have that many, but that's still my favorite visual. So I think just being able to like push myself to be more expressive in other mediums than just like the music, like the recording process of it is definitely one of the things. And yeah, like just taking care of myself mentally and physically. Like I'm cooking more, and that's like something I really didn't do for a minute, just because like I'm in New York, I'm always on the go. I really
Why would you cook in New York? It's like driving. Like, why do you have a car in New York? Why do you need to cook? And that's one of those things where it's like everything's handed to you, so it makes sense. Everyone's like, you don't know how to drive, you don't have a license. I'm like, if you're in New York, you don't need one.
oh, it's crazy because I have my car here too.
But it's like there's so many people that are like so much public transportation, so it's like, why? Like, I don't blame them. It's to that point where if you've got one, some people look at you like, why? But if you don't, people are looking at you just like, oh, okay, it makes sense. You're not like if you get out of New York, go to some place like Delaware. If you don't have a car in Delaware, people are like, what are you doing? Like, you're in Delaware. We have like OCMD cars that are meant to be like driven here, but makes sense.
I keep it being though. And you say that until it's 20 degrees outside and you're in the whip and you're like, yep, you get a ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's scoop.
Don't get me, bro. But yeah, just being able to take care of myself and pushing myself more. And I guess the last thing I would say too is also just like I need to incorporate God more back into my life. And that's something I've been like really trying to like do again because I don't ever want to feel like I'm too busy to like give thanks.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
there's a lot of things that could have happened that I thank God for that didn't happen, whether they were like, rejection or whatever. But at the same time, like I avoided a lot of bad things only because like God really did have my back in circumstances that like I really could have been like damn, what fuck, like what am I gonna do type shit. So I just want to like that's another thing, just really building that relationship again and really like really focusing on growing that. Because I don't ever want to feel like I said, I don't ever want to feel like I'm too busy to like give thanks to God. I don't ever want us to run my spiritual well dry. So I read the Bible every morning. I pray every morning. I'm like I'm just trying to really incorporate that back into my life again. So yeah, those are the three things I was.
I know you're good. There's no limit to numbers. There's no minimum or maximum. That was amazing to hear from you. Nonetheless, other than that, before we head on here, I just want to say appreciate you for taking the time. It was a great time speaking with you, Low.bō. Honestly, like everything that you got going on for your music, for what you got going on as a person, wishing you nothing but the best in all assets and facets of life that you're going through. But nonetheless, just gonna support you throughout thoroughly and everything from there and that point on.
Bro, I really appreciate that. And again, I thank you for having me on your platform, dude. Like, this was honestly like this. Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. I think this was a really great way to like start the year because then like I'm gonna look back on it. I'm like, damn, I wonder what my life is gonna look like.
Yeah, we got a recap now. Yeah. And then we'll circle back. We'll still like be like, all right, so where we at with things? We learned that we putting drums in our music and we finding God now. What happened?
Yo, yeah, but thank you, bro. I really do appreciate it. And I just have nothing but blessings and the best of luck in your journey as well. And I can't wait to see where this platform goes.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Likewise.
No problem, man. Well, shit.